Yo, welcome into the BeBall Jones podcast. The goal of this podcast in my business is to bridge the gap, to fuel hoop dreams into impactful realities on the court and beyond. So thank you for tuning in. Hope you enjoy it. Nelson, somebody broke the NBA, man. I don't know what happened. I don't know who did it, but somebody somewhere broke the NBA. Because when's the last time? Yeah, when's the last time we had 4 people within like 2 weeks, I think, go off of 60 plus points? I don't know, man.
It's taking no time.
So I think the league broke, bro. Somebody went through the simulation and just they hacked the code where, like, you know how 2K you put this settings on easy, or you used to, back in the day you had to have cheat codes and stuff to be able to do stuff. So somebody put the cheat codes in, and, you unlock the shooting to be this level and this to be that level. That's the NBA point right now.
Somebody put the sliders all the way up.
Man, that boy went off of 70. Luka said 70. That's it. Boom, 73. Like, what's going on, bro? What's going on with the league, bro? How we get to this point?
I have no idea. I don't know what's going on. I don't know what they've been eating, what they've been drinking. You know, I don't know I don't know what the defense is doing. I hate that being over here. I can't watch the games like I used to. I might catch me one there and now. I try to catch the good ones because it'd be so late. 7 o'clock Eastern time is midnight. No, I'm sure 1 o'clock in the morning over here. So it's like if I want to catch one, I gotta make a sacrifice. So that'd be the only thing. But man, I always try to watch the clips and highlights, and I'm looking at it like, dang, boy, it look like real buckets. It don't look like the defense just not trying. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I get, they ain't hacking them or stuff like that, but they be trying. There ain't much you can do with them. You know what I'm saying? Some guys, it just ain't much you can do with,
Yeah. But I hate the defense that I go back and forth on sometimes. But so you know how they say back in they played real defense. But then I think about it, man, like it was just totally different to score. It was just totally different. It wasn't really better or worse. It was just totally different. So we talked about it before how the combination of the 3-point line mixed with Shaq is the reason why the game it is today. So Shaq said, I'm the most physical dominant thing. Other people who should have been saying this were like, you know what? Let me go to that 4 position. And then that 4 position became a little bit more skilled. Then you had people like Ryan Anderson, Turkoglu, Rashard Lewis being more stretch fours. So the stretch fours with the 3-point line expanding the shooting expanded the defense out. So you couldn't have a little PJ Tucker like person playing the 4 anymore. You had to have somebody who could actually defend outside and score outside. So that stretched the defense out more. So now you have more space to drive in. Versus back in the day, you had 2 7-footers just sitting in the paint waiting for you to try to do something. Mixed with a whole bunch of football-looking dudes just in the waiting to tag you if you come in the lane. So it's just totally different defense. So you're allowed to do more stuff because you have more space and more room. But when people say they don't play defense and it's easier, well, it's going to be a little bit easier if you have more room to go with, and I'm a little bit faster, a little bit stronger, and I have better skill. So I think the combination of all those things makes the game more open and more fluid to be able to put up 70 points and follow that with 73 points and have 2 other guys go for 62. So that's just the state of the league right now, man. Like it's just different and not, worse defense, it's different defense.
No, it's definitely different. I think, this is what the league wanted though, in a way.
Mm-hmm.
They wanted more offense. They didn't want guys like getting hurt, you know what I mean, from the physicality and whatnot. But number two, the way of the league before, in the early 2000s, stuff like that, the 90s, a guy that was scoring a little too much, we gonna get physical with him. Like in the 80s, it was a different level, but I'm not gonna go back that far. But the early 2000s, late 90s, guys scoring too much, we gonna get physical with him. You hear Shaq talking about, send him to the lane, I'm gonna touch him up. That's a technical now. That's a flagrant foul. There is no more of that. You know what I mean? Like, and that's, I'm not saying that's a good or a bad thing. I'll let y'all decide that on your own. You know what you think it is, how good or bad it is for the game. But safety is the number one concern, and then number two, y'all say what you want, and I'm a basketball. Obviously, I'm a basketball guy. You know what I mean? But people love to say the lack of defense ruins the NBA, or it has ruined the NBA. But the thing was, or the thing is, people pay to see that offense more than defense. That, like, offense is clearly more entertaining. And I feel like it's not even just basketball. I feel like that's almost every team sport where there's an offense and a defense. In baseball, what's a more fun game? The game that ends 2-1 or the game that ends 12-10 and you saw like 7 home runs? In football, what's more fun? A game that ends 10-7 or a game that ends 45-38 and you saw a bunch of touchdowns? You know what I mean? And you can sit back and say, man, when no defense being played. But that's the more entertaining game. Just being honest. And you know, I'm a basketball guy. I love defense. I'm a defensive guy. I love defense. I love to see great rotations and schemes and game plans. I can appreciate stuff like that. But if I'm honest, as a consumer of the game, the more entertaining game is the one where there's more scores, there's more buckets. And I appreciate offense. I appreciate watching somebody get to it. I got homeboys right now that I used to argue with, like, hey, James Harden the best scorer that ever lived. And I don't care what nobody say. Because when James was in Houston, he was getting buckets that I ain't never seen nobody get in very tough ways. And I used to enjoy watching that. So I'm like, man, James the best scorer I ever seen with my own two eyes. So that's what I mean. Like, bro, we can say what we want about, like, the game ain't the game, the defense ain't nothing, or they ain't playing defense, they taking the physicality out the game. Y'all can say what you want to about that kind of stuff. But at the end of the day, the league had to make that business decision. Offense is what people buying these tickets to see offense. Scoring is obviously the number one facet of the game. You ain't gonna win too many games if you can't score. But scoring also is going to sell tickets to your franchise, to your games, all that, whatever. Because people want to see you get a bucket. I can put a football player out there and be like, hey, man, don't let him score. And he can hand check and do whatever. And they probably won't get bound. Just being honest. If we allow the hand checks and the physicality that people be talking about, you can kind of put anybody out there with any kind of with some kind of athletic ability to match the other person, and they can do it. But now that we take that out the game and say, hey, man, don't put your hands on them. You know, you can't knock them off their spot. You know what I'm saying? You got to play basketball with your chest, with your body, and move your feet. It get hard. And people, I don't know, man. People just have their own opinions about that. You know, they don't want. It's a personal preference, I guess. But, like, man, at the end of the day, getting a bucket sell tickets. So we want people to get that bucket. We don't want people getting hand checked the whole game. And then games end 97-88. That's not the more entertaining game. So it's just the way of the league now, honestly.
They the last finals that was really, I think you say boring. I think the last finals that we had that was like a bad showing was like that Detroit Pistons finals when they beat the Lakers. And I think that Spurs Cavs when young LeBron was getting whooped up on the Spurs. And both of those were more defensive performances because if you remember, the Pistons were like the number one defensive team at that time. Smacked Kobe and Shaq around, broke them up. And then you had the Spurs locking LeBron, and the Spurs weren't like this dynamic, just like the Warriors are now. They just Warriors when they were prime used to be, and just scoring all these buckets and stuff. So it wasn't the most entertaining thing to see LeBron not play as well and not really go off, which is the person we came to see. No knocks to the Spurs. Then on the other end of the floor, you see this relatively boring offense where it's a lot of ball movement, out of cutting and screening. You'll see Tim Duncan hit a bank shot. Tony Parker hit a floater or a spin move. The most interesting play will be Ginobili making some crazy passing shot. That wasn't that fun to watch if you the average fan. So that's what the league was like. Okay, we can't keep having these performances on our biggest stage. You know what? Let's tweak this. Let's tweak that. Have more offense. Let's do more things for the offense. Of course, they did stuff for the defense too. Like if you look at the past few years, they did do some stuff for the defense to make it a little bit better for them, so they could actually have some performance in the say. But overall, the game is better when you have dynamic scoring offense. So the fact that we just had 4 people score 60+ points, and that's the biggest thing talked about, says a lot. We don't say anything when somebody get held to 2 points. You don't say anything when a team scores 83 points in the game. That's ridiculously low. Nobody talks about that. That's not the biggest breaking news in the NBA. So don't sit here and tell me that, oh, defense is everything. Like, stop it, bro. Like, you want to see a great defense? No, you don't. You don't talk about. Did you see that matchup when Drew Holiday locked up on him on this play? No, you don't. No one says that unless it's a game deciding move. Like, no one does that. Oh, you saw the second play of the game when Drew almost got crossed, but he recovered well. He got back in front of him and made that steal. Oh, you saw when Draymond helped over and he denied that pass. Nobody says that. So don't sit here and tell me that defense is the best thing about it. No. You want to see somebody drop 120, other team drop 130, and you want somebody to shoot out. I'm talking about how somebody got crossed up, somebody got dropped, somebody got dunked on. The highlights, bro. The highlights ain't a good defensive play, man. Stop it. I can't stand people do that.
Hey, dog, let me tell you, I got a special privilege to talk about this one. Because let me tell you, Pat Bell got a quote. I remember like it was yesterday because I felt it. When you talk about Damian Lillard. And Dame, apparently, you know how him and Dame are. Dame didn't shoot the ball well, whatever, however you want to put it. They said to Pat, they was asking him something about it, and it was like Dame had an off night, of course, something like that. It said something to the effect of Dame had an off night. You remember? And Pat was like, "Oh yeah, he had an off night, but if he would have killed me, y'all would. But if he would have got off, y'all would have said he killed me. But he had an off night, but I lock him up now. He having an off night. You know what I mean?" So it's like nobody puts the spotlight on the defense. Pat could have played the best defense in the world. But then at the end of the game, we out here saying Dame had an off night. We ain't say, oh, Pat played great defense. We talking about the offense. Now, Dame would have came out here and got 40. We would have said Pat got cooked. You know what I mean? Yep. So, man, let me tell you, dog. I'm going to give you a prime example from my own personal experience. I'm going to give you a prime example. Now, I done spoke many times about my time at Columbus State playing against Augusta State. And they had a 7-foot. So the dude that I had to guard him for 3 years now. Me and him left at the same time, so they ain't got to deal with him no more. But I played this man 3 years of my life. We met up 7 times. 2 playoff games and 5 regular season games. 5 regular season games and 2 playoff games. So 7 matchups. And I think I played him more than I played anybody. Literally, I played Augusta more than I played anybody, which is crazy because they were literally the best team in our league. So it's crazy that we just end up matching up that many times, and then me versus him. I was a 2-time defensive player of the year. He was player of the year my second year there. He was player of the year. So we matched up, and that's like a big deal to some people. It's like defensive player of the year, both bigs playing the same position. It's a big deal. Now let me tell you something. My second year there, the year I won my first DPOY, and the year he won player of the year, we played at home. I had 10 points, 11 rebounds, and 4 blocks, something like that. Held this man to 10 points, and we win the game. Now, people tell me how good I did and how great defense I played, locked up a 7-footer. That was amazing. They talked about it for a while. You know what I'm saying? That's cool. And I appreciate that. I'm not going to act like they just downplayed it. People very much gave me my props for playing defense on this man because I'm only 6'7". Fast forward, we played them in the playoffs. We lost to them at Augusta. We beat them at home. We lost to them at Augusta. Now we're playing them in the playoffs in Augusta because they hosted, because they number 1 seed. We played them in Augusta. I give this man 25. I had 25 and 7 and like 3 blocks. Still played good defense. I forgot how many points he had, but I had more points than him. But we lose the game. Now you ask me which game they tell me about or give me more props for. The game we won, and I had 10 and 11 and played great defense. or the game we lost and I had 25? Which one you think gets more talked about when they bring me up? When they ask me, when they talk about my career, which one you think they remember first?
Of course, the
The
25.
the 25. You gave a 7
Yeah.
for the 25. How'd you do that? That was a great game. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? That is what it's like being a defender. I can play great defense every other night. And it's cool. They gonna remember. They be like, hey man, you a good defender. People know Pat Bell a good defender. People know that. But when it come down to it, and we get to talking about who good, who not, who better, you know what I'm saying? And they get to
Mm-hmm.
talking about, oh, you did this, you did that. They don't bring up, oh, well, shoot, Pat play D. They gonna bring up, oh, dang, Pat off night. And so that's just what it is. And then here I am, a defensive player of the year, having to guard the player of the year. We win. People say, man, you did a great job guarding him. We go down there, we lose. I have 25. Man, you was playing lights out, bro. You had a great game. That was amazing. You was killing. You was doing this. You was doing that. People remember that first because
Mm-hmm.
buckets gonna pay for them tickets. People want to see buckets. People don't want to see a whole bunch of defense all night. Now, defense is good. That's part of the game. I ain't saying they want you to let folks walk to the basket because you still obviously need to play. They want it to be competitive. But at the
Mm-hmm.
end of the day, people love to see buckets. That's just what it is. They want to see back. They want to see people score. And if you locking up the best scorer, they'll remember that. But at the end of the day, the more enjoyable experience is if that dude, that the best player on one team, give you buckets. That's just what it is. Now, unless they cheering for your team, then they want to see you do that. But
Mm-hmm.
if they not a fan of you and your team, then they don't want to see that. They don't care too much to see that. Unless they just
Mm-hmm.
love defense in basketball. That's all it is. That's all the time. But other than that, man, no. We want to see somebody score. Put the ball in the hoop. That's what we want to see.
And it's sad / funny how ESPN will hype up something like Luka versus Booker. And I get it. It's a little rival between them two, and it's the intensity. You're gonna see, you know, they have the capacity to go off and have great offensive nights. And it's like, all right, cool. But to see Drew Holiday versus Booker, when we talked about, and it's like Luka's probably never going to guard Booker unless they just swapping things. There's just a lot of switches.
No,
But Drew Holiday's going to guard Booker. Like that's not no. I'm coming for you, bro. Like I'm matching up tonight. I got to deal with you. You got to deal with me. May the best man win. So we want these matchups of like, oh, the stars. Like it ain't back in the day when T-Mac was guarding Kobe and Vince Carter was in the mix and AI was doing business. Like it ain't like that. You have to like strategically plan and move pieces around to get the matchups like that. Like LeBron ain't guarding KD. We're not seeing that no more. That's not happening. But you will see Drew Holiday lock up anybody in the league. He will take that matchup and go do his business. Kawhi will guard people. Paul George will guard people. But that's going to be talked about because they're bigger names offensively. But, oh, man, PJ Tucker, you saw PJ Tucker, what he did on defense? Like, nobody's saying that.
nobody's
Tony
saying
Allen, bro. Tony Allen, bro. Did you see the Tony Allen game? Bro, you saw when KD hit that spin, step back, and Tony was sitting right there. He ain't go nowhere. Nobody's saying that. Unless you just a Grizzlies fan, Tony Allen cousin, or you just a weirdo like us and like defense.
Know what I'm saying? If you ain't a fan of that person or that team, folks don't care about none of that. They want to see
Exactly.
buckets. And they don't even got to be a fan of the other team or the other person. If I ain't no KD fan or no Brooklyn Nets fan, when Paul George was getting cooked, not Paul George, PJ Tucker was getting cooked in that playoff series when he was in Brooklyn and PJ played for Milwaukee. Even
Mm-hmm.
if I wasn't a fan of neither team, if I wasn't a fan of neither team, I'm still enjoying that. I'm enjoying
Oh yeah.
KD getting buckets. But if PJ Tucker was locking up KD, I'd be like, man, KD having a tough game.
Mm-hmm.
That job, yeah, bro. I've been the defender. I've also been the scorer. So I'm not.
Yeah.
It's
That's
crazy,
crazy.
dog.
But
Tell you.
uh, speaking of all this scoring, man, you asked something before You want me to ask, or you want to ask? Since your question.
I break it in. So I put this on social media the other day, but I actually stole this from my man KG because you know I'm a big KG fan. I heard he asked the same question, so I decided to come on here and ask y'all, see what y'all think. But what do y'all think is more likely to happen? What do y'all think will happen first? Because I'm pretty sure one of the two gonna happen eventually. Is somebody more likely to score 100 points in one game again? Because I know Will did it before. But somebody more likely to score 100, have another 100-point game since we haven't all this scoring recently, or is it more likely that a team will score 200 points? So which one do y'all think will happen first? So which one do you think? Since you know, y'all drop down in the comments and let us know what y'all think. But which one you think is more likely to happen first?
It's a tough one. Like when you
Very tough.
first told me, it took me a minute to think about it. I was really going back and forth. So let's exclude Wilt from this. The next highest scoring title we had is 81.
Yes, sir. Okay.
And then on the team side, I had to write it down. We had 186. That's the highest of a team scoring.
Mm-hmm. And they did that in double overtime in 1983.
Exactly.
So that was another thing I took into consideration. I'm like, okay, if they did that in double OT in 1983, the way people scoring nowadays, if two high volume scoring teams get into a double or a triple overtime now, I feel like they'll for sure break 200. Now that's very specific circumstances, but
I'll remove the specificity of it. I think the fact that in 83 with no 3-point line, and if they did, they weren't using it like that. So in 83 in double overtime, they did that. We putting up 120 right now. If you're not putting up 120 in a regular game, you're not scoring enough. you probably like, hey, bro, we finna put you to the G League, bro. Like, what you doing up here? Like, that's how bad it is if you're not putting up 120. So you telling me we can't put up 60 more points on a good night? So I feel like the 200 points should come first. I think the 200 from a team should come first because if you put up 120 on an average night, then on top of that, you do have a high score line. It's one of the nights where it's like, okay, they're going back and forth. Because right now it's like, it's usually like you have somebody going on a tear, and then it's like all out defense mindset. We have to stop them. And it's like, well, let's fight fire with fire. Go get a bucket. Like Jamal Crawford, go crazy. Like, go do your thing, bro. Go cook. Matter of fact, let me go put LeBron out there and put him with a bucket getter and 3 other shooters. Let's go to work now. Like, let's run the floor. If it's in LeBron hands, y'all just run. Just go. LeBron gonna find you. If it's in his hands, slow it down, space out, let him cook. Like, I think we could really see the 200 points coming first because the way the game's set up. So we got close with 73. Got even closer with 81. I think we had 77 before. That's the third highest we had. But I think we see the 200 first, man. We should.
okay. I can agree with your logic, but let me just play devil's advocate right here. Joel Embiid had 70 the other night in 37 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
So he played his regular amount of minutes. So he didn't play 45, 46. When Kobe had 81, he played like 46 minutes, I want to say, which is almost the whole game because it's only 48 for those who don't know. But Embiid scored 70 in his regular amount of time. So then my thing to you is the same way that we say that, they give a team a overtime or a double overtime. You give an Embiid or a Luka, especially, I feel like it's more likely to happen with somebody like a Luka who's shooting more tray balls and stuff. But Embiid gets to the free throw line a lot too, so I guess it kind of balances out. But anyway, you get somebody like a Luka or a D-Book or somebody like that double overtime, and they already had a heater. They was already on a hot hand. 71 in 37 minutes. You go into overtime, that's extra 5 minutes. So you go into double overtime, that's extra 10 minutes. Now let's say Embiid would have played, because if it was a closer game, he probably would have played more because they beat them by like almost 20. I want to say it was a blowout. And then, so he didn't have to play a whole lot. But let's say that was a close game. So next thing you know, he playing like 44 minutes. Because it's like, hey, we need you to finish out the game. And then he ended up going back in. He get to like 80. He gonna get 2 more buckets and some free throws at least. At least. 2 or 3 more buckets and like 2 or 3 4 free throws. That's 10 more points automatic. So he touching 80 right there. Let's say the game going overtime. Now you got 5 more minutes. He gonna play the whole overtime. He getting 3, 4 more buckets because they gonna give it to him. He got 80. He got 80 in his overtime. Of course, we going to him, and we gonna make y'all stop him, and then they double whatever he can kick, But I'm assuming in overtime he gonna still be getting off. So we talking about three, at least 3 more buckets in that 5 minutes. Probably 4 more free throws because they gonna have to foul. So you talking about 10 more points. 3 buckets and 4 free throws is 10 points automatically. And I know I make it sound easier than it is, but for somebody like Joel Embiid, it's almost that easy that he gonna get 3 buckets and he gonna get fouled and go to the line twice. And he good at free throws. That game he scored 70. He was 22 for 24. It don't get much better than that.
Yeah.
So that's 90. You're touching 90 right there. Let's say the game going to a double overtime. God forbid a triple overtime. And I'm pretty sure he's going to be gassed. But he's still going to get the ball. I promise you he's still going to get the ball. So I feel like it's the same thing. Like, man, you give a high-scoring player 2 overtimes, and they already hot. I think it's more likely to happen with a guard like a Luka or a D-Book or, a Donovan Mitchell who also then has 70. Somebody who's going to shoot more threes and stuff like that. I feel like it's more likely for them to get it than a Joel Embiid, but still, it's very possible. That's how I see it. Like, it's very possible for somebody, more like one of those guys, to just have a hot hand one night, and then the game just also happens to be close, and then we go to overtime, and then a double overtime.
But I think the player has to have too many factors to go their way versus the team. Like, I'm gonna be honest with you. There's 2 big disappointments in the Warriors. Well, Warriors are one of the players. We get to the other part later. Like, the fact that the Warriors never broke a scoring record is kind of bothersome. Like, the fact that you have Steph Curry and Klay Thompson, and then you add Kevin Durant, and it's like, oh, snap. They should have some type of scoring record, bro. Like, there's no reason why they shouldn't have clipped 150 a couple times. When you think about how effortless it was for them to score, like, they should have hit some records and be like, oh, we've never seen a team put up points like they have. Like we should have been able to put more respect on the offense and say this is arguably not on paper, but the actual black and white numbers they put up. This is probably the best scoring offense we ever seen. They should have been in discussion for that. So I feel like they were underwhelming on that sense. Not because they had championships. All right, cool, whatever. But let's look at the totality of what they could have done. The potential that the team had. The fact that they didn't come close to breaking any of them records is a little bothersome. Now, I will blame Steve Kerr because he tends to not do things that will benefit record books. So, yeah, he's the coach that's like, forget that championship. Forget that. Let's go for a win. Forget that. Like, bro, come on, man. You got Steph Curry right there on a burner. Like, I'm talking about just flame throwing anything that he ain't even touching the ball, bro. It's just and gone. Like, he ain't even really touching the ball, bro. It's there for 0.2 seconds, and it's in the rim already. Let that man cook. Let him get a 60 ball, man. The Steph ain't dropped no 60 ball yet, 70 ball. He should be, like, bro, he should be in discussion for that. We saw Klay do his thing, but he should have put up more. Klay should have been in the 70 ball discussion. He put up how many points in 3 quarters? All right, then, Steve Kerr. Like, let your boy cook, man. Let him get a record or two. Like, him going off that night when I took away from getting a ring. Like, come on, man. So that's why I feel like it's a disappointment too. But I think that could have been a team of all teams.
Yeah, we definitely have a chance to do all of that. But they had so many games, they blew people out. So they sat them down. And so I understand, but as a fan, I would have also liked to have seen that. That's like the amount of times in that 73-9 season, the amount of times we saw them have 40, 50, 60 and didn't play the fourth or didn't play the majority of the fourth. they could have had an 80 ball at least once.
Mm-hmm.
So these are the kind of guys that can break 100. Like a Steph, especially in that 2015, 2016 MVP run, he could have definitely have broke 100 in the specific circumstance of like already being hot, and then they go into overtime or double overtime because he makes so many threes, and Steph is in great shape, so he already be running the whole game, so he got the energy to probably last through the double overtime game and still be hitting, make all his free throws. You know what I mean? Steph had games where he scored 50 and didn't play the fourth. The whole fourth. So now you're talking about, I know he ain't going to play the whole fourth, but now you're talking about like 8 minutes that he normally would have gotten in the fourth quarter, plus 5 minutes overtime, plus 5 minutes of a double overtime. That's another 18 minutes. You know what I mean? That's a long time, especially for a Steph Curry who going to have the ball consistently. So, I don't know, man. I would say probably the more likely one is a team score 200 points, just because I feel like it's so, like you said, it's so many factors into a player. Because you can eventually somebody gonna double, you know what I mean, or they gonna do something.
Mm-hmm.
They're not just gonna let you get 100, especially because they, you know how it is. Like they did the same thing with like, remember when James Harden was like having was going like basically going for the record for most consecutive 30-point games or something like that. And then I want to say it was the Pistons actually, but I can't remember exactly. But they like the game he needed to break the record or something like that, or 2 games before he broke the record, he had like 26 or 28, and they doubled, bro, because the game was about to be over, but they doubled him just to make sure he didn't get it. They ain't care. They was like, nah. So imagine if a dude was finna score 100. And they like, just imagine a dude got 96. We losing the game. You won't score no more. Forget the game. Forget the game. You're done for the night. We take you up out of here, buddy. We guarding you with 2 people. Y'all can score 4 on 3. Me and my homeboy right here. We gonna make sure you don't score no more. I'll be doggone. You score 100 points on me. If I'm the coach, I'm not letting you score 100 points. Forget the players. Like, the players should feel that way too. But if I'm the coach, I'd be doggone if I be known as the coach who let somebody score 100. The coach that allowed Kobe to get that 81 in Toronto ain't coached another game, and then no, I'm just playing. But I'm pretty sure he ain't coached nowhere else for sure. Like, I don't think he ever coached again. Because I remember Taylor Rose telling the story like, "Hey, do we want to double?" And he said no. I think the game plan was to make Kobe, score all the points and stop everybody else. And Kobe did it. So I don't think he coaching no more. So you think I'm finna let somebody score 100 on me? No, sirree. Can't let it be me. Don't let it be you. So that's all I can say. But
yeah, I think
it's definitely more likely for the 200-point game.
I think it's a pride thing too. When you get to somebody like, if somebody scores 100 on you, your next, like, your team has to have something matching that. So imagine if the the book at the end says Steph Curry 100 points or KD 100 points, Clay, whoever it is, scored 100 points. Your team, the highest you probably put up somebody dropping 40 ball, and that's still a great night, but in comparison, a little bad. But if your team put up 200 or 201, the other team has to put up a good 180, 190 something for that to be pushed to that limit. Like, you ain't just gonna run up the score at that point. Like,
it's gotta be
once you hit 150, yeah. So once you hit 150 and the other team at 100, that's a 50-point blow. It's like, you end up easing off. You put the subs in, so all right, whatever. But if it's a real flame throwing matchup and it's 150, 155, 172, 168, 195, 193. Oh, you talking about the most talked about game for a good weeks? Yeah, that's gonna be it. When somebody dropped 201 and the other team dropped 195. Because the highest scoring game was like 196 to 184, 83. It was like a really close game. So I think that's why it's more likely to happen, because it's pride makes the opportunity to win still in there. So you're not gonna ease off the brakes and say, well, it'll score 200 and we just took our little 120, 130. Like, no, bro. Like, because the offense gonna back off in too. Like, man, I can't sit here and risk my guys getting hurt. So I think it's more likely you'll see that because it's still that competitive edge going on too.
What was that game this earlier this season? It was like the Pacers versus the Hawks or Pacers versus the Bucks. I know the Pacers was in it, but I can't remember who the other team was. I want to say it was the Hawks. And it was like 150 something to 160 something in regulation. Like they ain't go to no overtime, and then it was like 150 something, 160 something. Just regulation game because so many people was getting buckets. I can't remember
I
what
know it's
game
the
it
Pacers
was.
because the Pacers been
Yeah,
going crazy.
they got like a historic pace, ironically, since they the Pacers. But um, I remember they was talking about that though.
But I did write down what the most recent high scoring game was. Now it's the Kings and Clippers. It was 176, 175.
Did they
And that
have
was
overtime in that game?
I think so. It might have been one overtime. I should have wrote that down. Let me go Kings.
We go try to find that game.
It was last year. Yeah, it was double overtime.
The
Yeah,
Pacers had a couple of
176
games
to
where 150 points were
175.
scored. You said it was double overtime?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that kind of makes sense. So yeah, I definitely could see somebody scoring 200. And what year was this? This year or
This was
last year?
last year. Last
Last
year.
year.
Last
Yeah,
season.
the Kings was getting up and down. They was a fast paced team too, so that kind of makes sense. I don't even know what game this was I'm talking about because the Pacers got so many high scoring games. They got so many games. Like they had a game where they lost to Boston. Boston had 155. They beat the Spurs.
I
They
was
had
gonna bring it up.
152.
I know the Celtics had one.
Yeah, they beat them. They 155 to 104. That was like early in the year though. Beat them by 50 piece. And then they had a game where the Pacers had a game where they beat the Spurs 152 to 111. They had a game where this did go the game I was talking about. They did play Atlanta. They beat Atlanta 157 to 152.
I just found
So
it too. Yeah.
so imagine if that game went to overtime or something.
Yeah, I think right now 150 is about the high you're gonna get in regulation. If you really on a burn or something like just cooking from the beginning, you can push to 160. So
Yeah.
scoring another 50 points in double overtime, and the average you probably scoring is like no more than 15. Like if you're scoring more than 15, that's a high scoring overtime game. So for you to hit 200 is very tough, man. So, but I think that's more likely to happen because you get to a point where if I'm the coach and my player have potential to score 100, you dropping 100. I'm doing what I can.
I'm doing
Like
what
I'm
I
sorry,
can.
but you're if you're in potential to score 200 and you're not in a competitive game, it's gonna look really bad. It'd be like, oh, why are you still scoring, man? Why you still got started in the game? Because I want to get the record. Nigga, what you think? Like 200? Yes. Come on. So
Man, yeah,
it's
it's
tough.
definitely it's tough, but I think the 200 is more likely though. Give that Pacers team this year's Pacers 2 overtimes. They're gonna be close.
Mhm.
The way they score, they got a couple 150-point games. Either they scored 150 or the other team scored 150, or both apparently. So you get that like that Pacers Hawks game would have went to a double overtime. Ain't no telling how many points they would have scored.
Yeah.
But
What play do you think will break it though? If you
100
had to put
points
money on it, what player? Yeah.
right now today, I gotta say Luka because Luka got the
Mm.
ball in his hands so much, and it probably won't happen this year because Kyrie there now and he taking away some of them touches a little bit. I mean, he's still scoring 70, honestly. So, but I think Kyrie, there's gonna be games Kyrie, gets hot. So it's less opportunity for him to have that kind of game. But if I had to just guess, I would probably say Luka. And then D Book close second.
Yeah, Book was probably gonna be my guess. Yeah. I feel like if I had to put money, I'd say Book.
But right now, like same thing with Luka, he got KD and Bill. Only thing is they haven't been healthy most of the year. KD just had 60 the other day as we recording this.
Yeah.
So,
But I think even with that, though, KD gonna let you cook. Like KD is like a lover of the game. So I'll end with 2 if you can go off and get your 100. And together we gonna say we scored 102 points. Like KD is one of them few hoopers who are just like let you cook, bro. Like he's a fan of that. So he wanna be able to be like hop on the podcast, be like, yeah, man, I told Book, man, like keep cooking, bro. I don't care about me, bro. Go get your thing. Like KD's one of them players. I think Kyrie is too, but Kyrie don't function as well without the ball in his hands. And he's not like a pass first PG, so it's not gonna operate the same. And Bill, like, bro, I don't think Bill care enough to be like, I ain't gotta get mine. Like, bro, do your thing. Like,
yeah, they're not selfish guys.
I'll see him on the bench, bro, if you getting off. Like, bro, forget that, bro. I'm gonna be a spectator. Like, bro, I'm chilling. Ooh, he dropped again. Another, like, KD gonna be out there, bro, supporting that man. So that's why I think the difference gonna come in. That's why I think Book can get it. And he's still young, bro. He's like, Luka's 24. I think Book is like 25, 26.
I think he's 26.
Like, come on, man.
Yeah, so time to get buckets.
Yeah, so I think it'd be one of them too, man. Like, I think it's because they had the skill, they had the capacity to do it. So I think one of them two would get it. But if I had to put money on it, I think Buck gets it. If we had to like throw somebody out there, so
yeah,
it's a safe bet. Hey, hold on, time out real quick. We're gonna get back to the episode. I know you're enjoying it. I know you're enjoying the show. But I need you to help me real quick and to make sure that this episode can grow, make sure this podcast and show can grow overall, and you can keep getting great guests like this. Make sure that you subscribe and follow along. So if you watch right now on YouTube, help me out by hitting the subscribe button. Go ahead and do it real quick. If you're listening in your car, chill out for a second. If you're on Apple or on Spotify, just like when you get a moment, hit the follow button, but not right now while you're driving. If you're working out or something, or you're chilling in your room, then go ahead and subscribe with me. Like, help me help you, okay? But thank you for watching. I really appreciate you. I'm gonna stop interrupting so you get back to the episode. Thank you. But
yeah,
you know who I'm kind of frustrated with this player, because I think about 5 years ago, he would have been the bet to be like, oh yeah, he's gonna be the guy to drop 100. Because it's too easy for him. It's too easy for him to get buckets and score and do his thing. Talking about Kevin Durant, man. What's wrong with Kevin Durant, man? Not too long ago, he was saying how why isn't he talked about in the GOAT discussion? And I think this is part of why. Because I feel like he's one of the few players who hasn't lived up to his potential. It's like, man, you could have been and done so much more, but you've been capped and you haven't done as much. But that's just like a part of what I think, man. What's going on, KD, man? Like, why do you think he's not talked about as much in the GOAT discussion?
I mean, the answer's simple. You haven't done enough. That's all I can tell you. You haven't done enough. And see, it's easy to say, what haven't I done? Because that's a blanket statement. Oh, championships, MVPs, first team all pros. You know what I mean? It's easy to say that. Points, records, whatever. He has those things. But how many do you have? Because the guys in the GOAT conversation got more than what you got. So it's easy to be like that, because that's what he said. What haven't I done? Why am I not in the discussion? What haven't I done? Not enough. You haven't done enough. And like, I hate to get into these comparisons, because it's like, when you get to talking about stuff like this, it's like, I can't say he's not in the GOAT debate without hating. That's how it seems. Because like now people, oh, you just hating on KD, or you just loving the other guy. You know what I'm saying? But I got this is my truthful opinion. Like, he has not done enough. Okay, what haven't you done? All right, you got championships. How many you got? 2. Cool. 2 championships, 2 finals MVPs. The guys in the GOAT debate all got at least 4. At least 4. We talking about Bron. We talking about Kareem. We talking about Jordan. Some people say Kobe. They all got at least 4. You only got 2. Not that 2 ain't great, but The other guys got at least 4. So then what else? What haven't I done? You got an MVP. 1. You got 1 MVP. The other guys, they all got at least 4. Brian got 4. Mike got 5. Kareem got 6. That's tough. It's hard to put you in the same combo with them guys. Oh, what about scoring? Braun number 1. Kareem number 2. Was number 1 for a long time. Mike number 4. Because Kobe 3rd, I want to say. So I think Mike 4th or 5th. KD just cracked number 10 as we recording this. He just cracked number 10 a couple days ago. And 10 is great. He probably going to end somewhere between 10 and 6. He not passing none of them guys. In my opinion, I don't believe he going to pass none of them guys. He'd be missing too many games. Mm-hmm. He already 35 years old or 34 years old, one off. I don't think he can crack in top 5. But the other guys in the top 5. And what else you want to say? Oh, first team all NBAs, they all got more than you. All stars, they all got more than you. Like, there's nothing you could bring up to compare to them guys other than saying, oh, I've done the things that they did. You have. You done won MVP, you done won championships, you'd have been first teams, you'd have been the best players. Like KD was definitively the second best player in the league to only LeBron for probably like 10 years. Ever since OKC went to the finals in 2014.
2012.
No, dang, I see this how like fast time be flying. 2012, because it was right after the Dallas series. 2012 when KD and them went to the finals. Ever since that year, KD probably been the second best player in the league in most people's eyes. 2 only LeBron, and that probably lasted for like 10 years. Some people say he still top 5. So you've been a great player, obviously. It ain't like we don't think you're great. But when you get to talking about the GOAT debate, now we're comparing you to people that ain't playing no more. We're comparing you to GOATs. And you ain't did what they've done, unfortunately. Love you, KD. I love you.
Yeah.
Your game is amazing. I love you. But I'm sorry. You going to the hall, though. Had that debate. We talked about that. You going to the hall for sure, though.
I think KD's an interesting case because along the lines of what you were saying, he just hasn't done enough. And the one thing I think about with him that's kind of missing is the I'm him, for lack of better words. Like, he doesn't have that moment where it's like Kevin Durant is the man. No ifs, ands, or buts. LeBron has been the man for a long time. Kobe had a run where he was like, oh, ain't nobody touching him. Before that, Jordan is Jordan. So everybody else had a period where it was like, that's the guy. Right now, no one's doing what this man is doing. James Harden had a stint where he was like, oh, James Harden, is he the best player? Like, what's he doing over there in Houston? But he had a stint in Oklahoma City, but that's more of young KD. So after that, where did KD have a stint? We were just like, oh, Kevin Durant is hands down above and beyond number 1 right now. He had pockets where he was in that phase, but then he got hurt. And he had pockets where he in his phase, but it was the Golden State blanket covering him. So when he was in Golden State, it wasn't above and beyond Kevin Durant dominating. And I get that Kevin Durant views the game differently. He doesn't view it as objectively as we do. He's like an artist. He views it in colors and like the different ways he views things. So for him, beautiful basketball is GOAT debate. And it's like, bro, I'm 7 foot. I'm doing this. I can do that. Player for player, if we're talking about just 2K stats or like if we're playground pickup, KD's top 4. Like, there ain't too many people you gonna pick up for Kevin Durant. Like, if we talking about playground, he's number 1. Like, a 7 foot that can do everything and anything, he's number 1. But at the exact same time, that's why he's not number 1. Because how can you do anything and everything without that level of dominance too? Like, why haven't you done more with what you do have? Like, how are you this unstoppable and you're not in the talks of 100 points? How are you this unstoppable but you don't have more records? How are you this unstoppable but you haven't done more? Like why aren't you top 5 in all time points in the game? Why aren't you more prolific in like why aren't you higher level? Why aren't you high caliber? Because he views the game as art, and artists don't kind of have that level of like just like Kobe didn't give any care about art. I want to murder you. I want to win this game and let you know you're dead. So if that's a ugly 50 or a ugly 81, so be it. The KD, he's more of a feel and flow of the game. He don't get me wrong, he does have a killer to him. Don't get me wrong, he definitely has like that level of like I'm coming for you in that type of energy. But he doesn't sustain it long enough to where, oh man, let me not mess with KD. Like LeBron has stint with us like, LeBron James, I ain't. Y'all take that matchup. KD's gonna be like, you know, it's gonna be a tough night because he's gonna get what he wants. But because that's the mindset, why hasn't he done more? I think that's part of it too. Like, yes, the records and everything he doesn't have. Yes, the scoring stats he doesn't have. But it's a level that the feeling of number one, he just never carried that long. He either didn't have it or he had it, but it didn't hold long enough for us to like really stamp him as being GOAT talk. So I think that's the issue kind of comes in with KD because we have the narrative of him being in these conversations, but it's too short lived, or he's not in there more often enough. Because when's the last time KD was just dominant? He had a stint in OKC, or not OKC, in Brooklyn. He was on the potential to be there, MVP caliber year, got hurt, missed games, took the momentum away. Before that, Golden State, where he was cool, he wasn't dominating, but he was cool, you know, doing his thing. Then it was OKC years. So I think that's kind of hurting him. He doesn't have that level of dominance and that prolific just stamp. This is Kevin Durant time. I don't think he had those moments. So that's hurt him when it comes to the GOAT talk.
Let me tell you something. There was 2 moments I could think of where KD could have almost been like behind him moments that you talk about. There's 2 that really come to mind for me. The first one was the press conference after they lost to the Clippers in game 1 of the first round of the playoffs when he was still in Golden State. And they was talking about Pat Bell locked him up, right? And then he was in the press conference like, I'm trying to play the game. Like, I'm not going to mess up the flow of the offense to play one-on-one with Pat Bell. Like, I'm Kevin Durant. You know who I am. We all remember that you know who I am. And then the next game, he had 40 in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
So he let us know who you were. He reminded us. And then they ain't lose another game the rest of the playoffs. People remember that, but you know, obviously he was playing for the Warriors, and you know how it is with that. So folks ain't taking too. But that was a big deal though for some people. Like, oh, KD said, you know who I am, came out the next game and showed us 40 piece. So that was one. I give him that one. Number 2, he was almost him when he played the Milwaukee Bucks. The year the Bucks won the championship, almost beat the Bucks single-handedly. And I'm a Giannis guy. And boy, I tell you, I was scared. You know, Giannis is my favorite player. I was scared because this man was giving PJ Tucker buckets. He was giving this man, and then I'm talking about buckets like PJ wasn't doing nothing but being physical with this man because PJ Tucker like my KD's 7 foot. And PJ was roughing him up, being physical. You know, he's strong, but he ain't gonna be able to contest that jumper. Once he get up in the air and shoot, it's over. It's just like, dang, I hope he missed. So all PJ was doing was trying to make it tough on him before he take any shot. He giving this man 40 every time. Every time. And then he shot that game winner. So I think that was gonna win game 6 for them. Something, I can't remember exactly what the series was at the time, but bro, foot was on the line. And they end up going to overtime instead of that being a win. They go to overtime, KD gassed. You could tell he gassed. And the Bucks end up winning. And I was happy. I was elated. Because I'm like, dang, boy, he almost got us. Single-handedly, because Kyrie went playing, and James had a hamstring injury, but he was out there, but he wasn't James. You know what I mean? You could tell he wasn't himself. He wasn't trying to score. He wasn't being aggressive, none of that. He was just out there. KD almost did that jump by himself and would have finished it if his foot went so long. That foot was on that line, boy. Save the Bucks whole, save Giannis, save the Bucks whole season because they end up winning it all. Hey, that's how you know some of that stuff kind of just meant to be. Because like the Bucks end up winning it all. They would have lost that series if it wasn't for that, and they end up winning it all. And I just be looking like, damn, boy. If he would have did that one and then got the Nets to the finals, because I don't know, that wasn't Eastern Conference Finals. I think that was the second round.
Yeah, second round.
Yeah, I think that was the second round. And I'm trying to think who the Bucks played in the next round to go to the finals.
It might have been us, the Celtics.
It might have been. I can't remember right now, but it might have been. Either way, I think if they would have beat the Bucks, they would have had a good chance to go to the finals. Obviously, because the Bucks went to the finals and won. So if they would have won that series, I'm pretty sure they would have got to the finals. I don't know if they would have beat Phoenix, but they was looking good. Yeah. That was almost his moment. If he could have pulled that one off, because that was a LeBron-esque carry. When we think about carrying a team, obviously we think of LeBron first. Because LeBron had the biggest carry job you can have. Second, I mean, like some people might say Allen Iverson when he took the Sixers to the finals. But when we think about carrying a team, we think about Bron and them Cavs teams. That was going to be equivalent to that. So he could have somehow carried them to the finals and won, and they win the championship. Oh, yeah. That championship was going to mean more than both them championships in Golden State. Like, both of them. Like, it would have been crazy. So, but it just ain't happened. Sometimes it just don't happen like that. So, sorry, KD. Hey, you didn't do enough.
Yeah, I like him too, man. Like, I wish he would have that. And like, his career high is 55. I think his second scoring was 54. I just looked it up. Hold on. So his career high is 55. His next high is 54, then 53, 52, 51, 51, 51, 51. 50. And this man scored everything from 50 to 55. And he scored 51 3 times. No line. 4. So he scored 50, 4 51 games, 52, 53, 54, and 55. And this man had everything below 40. I mean, 49, all the way to 45, 44, 44. Like, bro, he scored everything he probably scored everything from 40 to 55. That's what this man has done. So I think when you average him out, great score, right? But he just need that next tier moment to like put up 75, put up 84. Like, you need he needs to have one clear moment where it's like Kevin Durant's the man. He needs to have a stretch where Kevin Durant is the guy running the league right now. Every other GOAT had the conversation was like, it's Michael Jordan's league. Yeah, this is LeBron's league. It's Kobe's league. We know who it is. Shaq, best big, hands down. No ifs, ands, or buts. Even quiet as kept Tim Duncan. Oh, ain't nobody touching Timmy. Best power forward all time. What is Kevin Durant the best of? I think that's the issue. We can't stamp him as the best. On paper, is the best scorer, but he's not going to have the all-time scoring record. He's not going to have the highest point scorer in the game. He's not going to have the highest average because I think Wilt or Jordan has that. So, what points to him being the best scorer all time objectively? You can't point to anything to say numbers-wise that this is the best. Now, of course, we can go subjective and say 7-footer can do everything. He should be the best, but he should have done more. So he gets too into like the love of the game. And like, man, I ain't finna do that mess with the flow of the offense. Man, forget the offense. You are the offense, bro. I love that. Like, Steph and Clay would be okay. Go off for 70. Like, it's those moments. I think that's what hurts him too much. He's too in love with the flow of the game and too in love with the rules of basketball, of like that level of play, that he won't let himself break the rules of the game when he is the player he's allowed to bend and break the rules. He's that caliber of player. It's not a role player saying, I know I'm cooking right now, but I'm gonna pass the ball to KD. Like, this ain't campaign, having a good night, 30-point game, but KD get the game winner. No, KD, you are the game. You are the game winner, bro. Like, that's the thing about him. So he just doesn't have enough of those. He doesn't separate himself enough. He doesn't separate himself. That's the thing. So he's great, love him, but he's too close to. It's like it's GOAT tier, Kevin Durant, and then greats. He's too close to the greats to not be in that tier of GOATs. I think that's what kind of hurts him. So, man, I love KD, but it's just that's why I feel like we don't put him in the GOAT conversation enough.
Yeah, we not. Hey, Nick Wright on Fox Sports. He had a great rant about Kevin Durant. He said Kevin Durant may be the unluckiest superstar ever. I'll tell you why. He said, Kevin Durant has been number 2 his entire career. And I feel like that's so, it's sad to say that, but it's real because he was the second pick in the draft. To who? Greg Oden, who obviously was him in college, and we thought was going to be him in the league. He ain't paying out, obviously, because of injury. Second pick in the draft. He comes in the league. He hoops. He gets good. He gets better. Gets his team to the finals. Loses to who? LeBron James. He wins MVP, though. He was MVP. Loses to LeBron James. What happens then? Oh, it's a consensus. He's the second best player in the league to LeBron James for maybe 10 years. And then what happens? As LeBron finally starts declining, folks start saying Kevin Durant the best player in the world. But you still got people saying it's still LeBron. It's a debate now. But people starting to say KD the best player in the world. Then what happens? Giannis Antetokounmpo in the Milwaukee Bucks. He almost beat him. Foot was on the line. Tough. The Bucks go on to win championship. What we say then? Oh, Giannis, best player in the league. Hands down. Ever since that year, he hasn't been healthy enough for us to be like, oh, well, Kevin Durant the best player in the league. He's been so in and out. He's been so hurt. It's hard to be like, oh, well, KD's still the best player in the league. We don't see him enough. So now it's like we going with Giannis. Giannis is available. He don't miss a whole lot of games, and they just won a championship. And he got 2 MVPs. He got a Defensive Player of the Year. We going with Giannis. KD number 2 again. Some people number 3. Some people still putting Bron above him. And I ain't saying that's wrong. It's a personal preference. And now we to the point where it's too late for him. It's pretty much over in terms of us being like, oh, KD the best player in the league. Because now who we looking at? Joker, Embiid, Luka, Jason Tatum, Shea Gill. We looking at all them guys like they the best players in the league now. KD ain't even an all-star starter. And he shouldn't be. Not this season, he shouldn't be. He going to be an all-star, though, but he ain't a starter. It's just tough, man. That's the way it shook out for him. And so with that on your resume, we can't say you the best. We can't put you in the GOAT debate. You was not even the best in the league for majority of your career. How you going to be the GOAT? And with that same logic, this is the same logic I used against Kobe a while back that people got on me for when I said Kobe probably shouldn't be in the GOAT debate. Because I said Kobe was not the best player in the league for the majority of his career. So, of course, with me, I can't put you in there. You haven't even done what Kobe did. So, it's over with. I'm sorry. Love KD, though. All respect to KD, easy money sniper. You know what I'm saying? He was a big inspiration to me in my career. Made me feel like I can shoot. So, I appreciate it. But GOAT debate, I'm sorry. Can't do it.
Yeah, it's tough, man, because Like I'm a fan of KD. Like when KD was book bag at press conference, KD when he had the best shoe in the league for a good 3-4 years,
Mm-hmm.
when KD could do no wrong, KD, everybody fell in love with him. I remember that KD. I'm a fan. I'm still a fan. But this is like me taking off my fan hat a little bit, still fan hat on because I wish he could have did more. But it's just not enough when we talking about the greats. So, and I think I think I don't know if Nick said this or not, but he was considered to be number 2 in Golden State. So you won, but you were the second best player on that team. So it's that's tough for KD. That's tough, but I rock with him. Hope he can finally get healthy and stay healthy because that's been the issue for him, man. So I don't know, man. I just feel like KD could really do some real like if KD would have been healthy, he would have did some real damage. Which made me think about something, man. Which team was tougher? The '01 Sixers or the '07 Cavs? Like which one was like you remove AI, you remove LeBron? Which team? So you said that KD had that carriage out versus the Bucks. And his only comparison would have been LeBron with the Cavs years and AI with the Sixers years. So if you remove AI from the '01 Sixers in that finals team, and you remove LeBron from the '07 team from the Cavs when they played the Spurs, which team was worse without their player? Like which team was like LeBron carried his team? He had more weight to carry than AI did. Which team you think was the tougher challenge?
Well, if we gonna do that, first thing you gotta look at who was both teams' second best player. So second best player for
I
the
think Big Z.
second best player for the Cavs probably definitely is Durant. I want to say he made an All Star team that 1 year.
I think so. Yeah.
So you talking about the Jonas Ilgauskas, and maybe between
Larry Hughes. I think he was on that team.
Larry Hughes and maybe Anderson Varejao. Anderson Varejao was pretty good back in the day, but he wasn't
Nah,
amazing.
I ain't putting Andy over. I ain't putting him over Larry Hughes. Nah, I can't do that.
Yeah, all right, Larry Hughes. So you talking about Big Z and Larry Hughes, his next best players. Now you take AI out the Sixers. You
Mm-hmm.
talking about his next best players being. I did not know Tony Kukoc was on that team. What the crap? What? He must have been hurt or something. I do not remember that boy playing. But you take AI off that team, you got they used to have Theo Rattler, but then they traded him
Matumbo's on
for
there.
Mutombo. Yeah. So Mutombo was on
Mm-hmm.
the finals team. So you got Mutombo. Najee Muhammad.
I think the
Oh
next
my
best
god.
might have been Eric
Eric Snow.
Snow. Either Eric Snow or Kevin Ollie because they're out to PG.
Yeah, it probably was Eric Snow. They came in with something about Eric Snow. Ah, that's tough. I ain't gonna lie,
Whichever
that's
one was
tough.
starting PG, that's probably the next best. That's tough. This
Yeah,
is looking real rough,
I think
man.
I gotta. Yeah, I think I gotta go with Okay, yeah, Tony Kukoc wasn't on their team when he was in the finals. That's why I don't remember him. Okay, so in the finals they had Mutombo, Eric Snow, Aaron McKee, Rashad Bell. Let's
Okay,
see. Okay,
I think I got
they
my
came back
answer.
second in
I think I
points.
got my answer.
Okay, go ahead.
I think AI had the better team because he had the more recognizable Robin. So in 10 years, because like we're too in the moment for LeBron's Cavs teams, right? So in 10 years, you ask some kid who like they were a kid in '07 and they get to our age or somewhere, older, it's like, man, you remember the '07 team? We like, yeah, kinda. LeBron, everybody else is like, I don't really like no history doesn't favor any of these guys well as far as knowing who the heck they are. Like none of them. Like you might remember Shannon Brown a little bit for his dunks, but Nobody gonna know who Big Z is. Like, he's not as recognizable. Nothing close to the Dikembe Mutombo. So it's, if I had to rank them, like, take off AI and LeBron, of course. If I had to rank them, we're gonna go Dikembe Mutombo 1, and then Big Z probably number 2. So because Dikembe was Defensive Player of the Year and he had that level of connection, I think that's where he sits when we're talking about that.
Yeah. I'm looking at this Cavs team now. I'm looking at the finals stats. LeBron averaged 22, 7, and 6. The next best player was Drew Gooden, averaging 12 and 8. And then Daniel Gibson averaging 10. So Big Z averaged 7 and 10. So he averaged 10 rebounds. Nobody was scoring. Nobody was scoring.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then I look at the Sixers. AI averaged 35. Dikembe Mutombo averaged 16 and 12, and Eric Snow averaged 12. So it was a lot, like you said, it was a lot more. Like, you could see who the second best player was. It was Dikembe Mutombo.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe that Sixers team was better, which is crazy to say because I've always thought that probably was the worst team that ever been to the finals. If we ever ranked the worst teams to go to the finals, these two teams up there.
Yeah, they fighting for number 1 spot in a fight they don't want to be number 1.
Facts. It's tough though. AI gave these boy 48 game 1, 35 game 3, 35 game 4, 37 game 5. It's tough, man. It's tough. So you know what I'm saying? I'm gonna say the Sixers had the better team because they stole a game off the Shaq and Kobe Lakers. In a year, that was the only loss they took the whole playoffs. They swept everybody else. AI gave them 48 and put Sixers over the top to steal one game off of them. That's a big feat considering nobody else got a game. So they stole the game off them, and nobody else did. Bron and them got to the finals and got swept by the Spurs. And it's pretty arguable that the Shaq and Kobe Lakers was better than the Spurs. Like, the Spurs obviously had a great team, but that 07 Spurs, I think I'd take Shaq and Kobe in them.
I think that year was the most dominant. That's one of the most dominant years of all time. Like, that's one of the best years. Like, when we talking about teams that had the best seasons,
The Spurs,
they're
Lakers.
up there. Lakers.
Okay.
Because you got the two most dominant 1-2 punch force to exist at that time. You can argue Steph and KD, you can argue Bron and D-Wade at that point. But at that time, the most dominant 1-2 punch to touch basketball. On top of the run they had that year, and that was Shaq's MVP year, I believe, was 01. So you going against the league MVP, a young dog just starting getting turned up for it. That's his fourth, fifth year in the league. Kobe was, I believe. So you going against that, one of the greatest seasons of all time, and you want to go just postseason. Like he said, they only had one loss, and it came to them. Spurs, now you could argue it was a tougher challenge or whatever. Both of them in the West, both of them were tough. I'm pretty sure the Lakers had to beat the Spurs to get to the finals. So whatever. So I think the Lakers probably were the better foe to go against. And the fact that AI snuck a game from him was like, ooh, okay. That said something. So I think that kind of works against AI in that sense of having the worst team. Because LeBron had to carry more with less.
And Bron was younger, too. Bron was only in his fourth year in the league.
Same thing for AI. He was drafting like 96, 97.
And that was 2000.
Him and Kobe came out the same year.
That ain't sure
That's like his fifth year.
But, yeah. Let me see what year this 01.
Because Bron drafted 03. He went in 07. So that's year 5 or 4, depending on how you count the season. And then AI was in 96 because that's him, Kobe, Nash, Ray, all of them. That's all the year.
So, yeah, this is year 5.
Finals on 01.
Yeah.
So,
even. Bron just was 19.
But,
I mean, yeah, when he came in. All the difference.
Yeah, I just say that's the only difference. So, AI, how long does AI stay in college?
I think he was only there a year.
That's what I'm thinking.
I can make sure. Allen Iverson, Georgetown, RIP coach.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think he was a
Allen
year if
Iverson,
my memory
Georgetown
serves
jersey.
me.
Hey, where the why I put in Allen Iverson, Georgetown stats, and they still putting up the NBA? He was there 2 years, so he wasn't one and done. He was there 2 years.
All right, cool. So we had 2 years on Brian at that point. So I don't know, man.
TV.
I think that's a good debate, though.
Yeah.
I think that's a good debate, though. Who had the bigger carrier job? Like who did more with less? So I don't know,
The
man. That's
bigger
pretty tough.
question is we need to have a debate or rank the worst teams to make the NBA finals. Might have to cut it off in like the last 20 years because I ain't trying to go back that far. But in the last 20
Yeah.
years, it's been a couple teams that was like, they get here.
Mm-hmm.
So these two will be at the top.
Yeah. All right. Do you want to have that mellow talk? Let me talk about Doc.
We got to get into the doc, actually. I love Melo, but we got to get into the doc.
All right. Okay. Another time out. Okay. Look, if you got to this point, you have to be enjoying the episode. Like you have to. At this point in the episode, you're enjoying it. So help me help you. Just if you're on Apple right now and you're on your phone, okay, just take your phone, press the subscribe button. It's right there. Just do that with me. Even if on your laptop, take your mouse, boom, click over, boom, do your thing. Now you subscribe. Now you linked in because you don't want to miss the next great episode that I have. But doing stuff like this helps the episode grow, makes the show grow, and the podcast grow so I can keep getting great guests and keep doing great interviews. So if you listen on Apple or Spotify, take a second, look at your phone, press the follow button, okay? And share with a friend or two because you'll find a value in this. You want to have this conversation with your friends so they can have the same value. Now the whole basketball community can grow. All right. Thanks for listening so far. I'm gonna get out your way. Let's get back to the episode. Appreciate you.
That's my guy.
How you feel, man? This your guy. This your team. How you feel about this, man?
Personally, I'm scared. Let me tell you why, though. For two reasons. Number one, the Bucks is my team. Giannis is my guy, obviously. So I want them to
Mm-hmm.
win. And I feel like they still top. I want to say they're number two in the East right now because I think Boston number one still. But they number two right now, I think. So it ain't like they ain't hooping. They playing well, but they ain't playing great defense. That's been the word on the street. They don't play good defense. They ain't got Drew Holiday no more. You gave up Drew Holiday for Dame, basically, plus other guys. But basically, you gave up Drew Holiday for Dame. Drew was your heart and soul on defense, along with Giannis and Brook Lopez, of course. But now you ain't got no guarding other guards. And so that's been a thing. Number two, scared for Doc. Why? Doc got a reputation now. You know? And Doc has the most blown 3-1 leads. He's been on the wrong end of a 3-1 comeback more than any other coach. It happened in Orlando, it happened in Boston, and it happened with the Clippers. So now it's like, dang. Now folks don't really trust him like that. You know what I mean? Then he hasn't won a championship or been to the finals since the 2009 Celtics when they went to the finals and lost to the Lakers. So he ain't been to the finals since then. And he had some good teams. He coached the Lob City Clippers. He coached they was the Lob City Clippers. Then they was like, oh yeah, we ain't gonna be Lob City no more. We got to be more serious. This ain't just a fun team. We trying to win. Still ain't win. Then they get Paul George and Kawhi. What happens? Blow a 3-1 lead to the Mavericks. Now, what was it, the Mavericks or the Suns? Might be true. I want to say it was the Mavericks. Either way. And all we remember is Paul George shooting that ball outside the back in the bubble. So that happened. And then they fired. He get the job in Philly. Got Embiid, got Maxey, got James Harden after a while. Can't get out the second round.
Oh, he had Ben Simmons before that too.
Yeah, Ben Simmons, but Ben was Doc was coaching them when Ben had his mishap in Atlanta. Remember when he could have dunked the ball and he passed it. But yeah, Doc was the coach then. And then, they trade Ben, get James Harden. They still can't get out the second round. Now, granted, in Doc's defense, he had some unlucky breaks. I will give him that. Because, like I said, Paul George hit the side of the backboard. They choked. In that bubble, them boys choked. They gave up on Doc. I ain't gonna lie to you. I don't blame Doc so much for that one, but he was part of it. Then, did he play in Philly? Kawhi hit that buzzer beater, bounced off the rim 10 times before it went in. That's tough. That's tough. And now he ain't been coaching since. Ever since he left Philly. So he got this reputation, and it's like, man, don't let it be us, dog. That's all I can think. It's like, bro, because if the Bucks already won championship, they're just trying to get back. They got Dane, they got Giannis, they got Brook Lopez, they got Bobby Portis, they got all the key pieces they really need. We just got to get back, dog. If you get to the finals, I think you get to the finals and you lose, that's okay. But to get put out without a good fight of getting to the finals, he might never coach again. This is quite literally probably his last stop. Like, it's over with after this.
Yeah.
This is it. And I just hope he on the right side of it. You know what I mean? That's all I can say. Because I love Doc. I was a Celtics guy. You remember. KG, that's my guy. Them 2008 Celtics, my favorite team ever. That's been 14 years ago. No, that's been 16 years ago. Since 2008.
Yeah, that's a long time.
Yes. When the Celtics won that championship, I was 8 years old. I'm now 24. Like, Doc, it's been a long time. So,
yeah.
I just want him to be on the right side of things because I like Doc. And I don't want to see him be slandered if this don't work out. So I want him to win. And I want Giannis to win. Mm-hmm. So it's a double whammy. How you feel about it?
I think it's two sides for me when it comes to Doc. So on one, like you said, it's probably his last stop. If you don't get a job done, you need to start figuring out where he want to fit at ESPN and get real comfortable there. Because I think if he doesn't handle this, it's probably his last job and he's done for. And I heard I think around the time he was about to get fired from Philly, that talks was going on. He had a rebuttal against everybody saying what they said against him. If you look at, you said, let's go to the last 15 years. If you're looking at what coaches had what players, you look at the roster that coaches have had, like all the players, like from the last 15 years. Doc might have the most impressive roster of guys. You're talking about KG, Paul, Ray, Rondo, JJ Redick, Chris Paul, Blake Griffin, DeAndre Jordan, Jamal Crawford. And you want to zoom forward to Joel Embiid, Ben Simmons, James Harden, Maxey. Now you want to add Giannis and Dame on top of that. It's looking real ugly. If you and one championship between all of that, it's looking real ugly, man. Like it's, and I'm not a fan of firing coach. I'm not a fan of that. I don't like that bandwagon of thinking because you're not just getting somebody out of position. You're talking about jobs, money, family, all the other stuff. And then if you want to stick to basketball, like you said, it's just stuff that happens that you can't control all the way. But for you to be in position to have this much talent and this little results, and to have like some of the best players in the league, why haven't we had more? Why have you not been in the finals? We have to start asking these questions about him. Like, it's one thing to say, oh, we just didn't get the ball to bounce our way. It's one thing to say we just had breaks. I understand. That happens to everybody. That happens to every team, every season. Cool. But did you even get the Western Conference? Did you even get to the conference finals enough times? Like, how many Western Conference finals or conference finals did he have? maybe 3. Did the Clippers teams get to one? I don't think they went to one. Maybe one.
The LA Clippers have never been to the Western Conference in the history of their
With the
organization.
teams he had. With the teams he's had the best team in the Clippers history. Either you want to go Lob City or you want to go Kawhi and PG. Oh, I forgot Kawhi and PG. I forgot about them. Bruh, what are we doing here? So it's part of me that's like, bro, you've had the most and done the least out of all these coaches last 15, 16 years. And the other side of me is like, there's a pocket where maybe 10 years ago, probably a little bit more, there talks about there need to be more black coaches in the league. When, we're talking about coaching time, white coaches are getting the same jobs over and over. You're just filtering guys in and out. You just rotating and cycling them out. Black coaches will get the same love. Can't say that for Doc. You cannot say that for him. So I hate that on that sense. I hate that too, because it's like, well, look at Doc Rivers. What did he do? Like on
That's a
that
whole nother
conversation, I
conversation.
hate it.
That's a whole nother conversation.
Yeah, so that's going to come up though. It's going to come. Somebody hasn't brought it up already. It's going to come up to where what has he done with what he's had? We gave Doc 15 chances and he did nothing. Well, all right,
One
bro.
man.
Like, come on, man. It's one man. Like, so that's the thing I hate too. Like, people going to point to that and say, well, we gave Doc these chances. He's had a job every year, and look what he did. All right, bro. Okay, that's what you want to do here. What about all the other black coaches who assistant coaches that? I ain't even get into that, man. But that's the conversation you're gonna come up to, and I hate that. So on those two fronts, what can we say now? Like that's what coach has had the most talented rosters besides Doc?
You know what's funny? I was thinking about this as you were talking. If we was doing like an all-time like team coaches all-time team, the top 5. He after Phil Jackson and Greg Popovich and probably Pat Riley. After that, it probably
Mm-hmm.
so Doc that had some of the like Doc got a whole team. Like your starting lineup could be Chris Paul, Paul George, or Ray Allen, however you want to do it. Paul Pierce or Kawhi Leonard. Like this is a starting lineup and a second team. Your starting and second team could be Chris Paul, Rajon Rondo, starting and backup point. You got Ray Allen and Paul George. You got Kawhi and Paul Pierce. You got Kevin Garnett and Blake Griffin. Then you got Dwight Howard and DeAndre Jordan. And I'm sorry, Joel Embiid. I forgot Joel Embiid. Then you had James Harden. You had Tyrese Maxey. You got JJ Redick.
And now you got Giannis. Now you got Giannis and Dame. Like, come on, dog. This is the freaking all-star team right here, man. This all NBA caliber team right here.
Oh my God. You talking about Doc Doc then coach some of the most talented guys ever. You talking about an all-time coaches team that could rival Pat Riley and Phil Jackson and them. Because if we being honest, if Phil Jackson ain't coach Mike and Pippen and then Kobe and Shaq, his coaching tree would be a little more slim. Because obviously them 4 are the greatest players ever. Pat Riley then coached Magic and Kareem, and then Dwayne Wade and
Shaq and Wade.
Yeah, he had Shaq and Wade. Yeah, them some of the best players of all time. So Doc ain't.
I think he had Patrick Ewing too when he was in New York. I think he was part of that team.
So yeah, them some of the best players of all time. Doc ain't you can't say he didn't coach no top 10 guys like that. But just like I said, after that, it's him. Pop that had all the Spurs, obviously. But I think I'm taking Doc over Pop. That's whole another episode we can have. But I don't think I'm taking Doc all-time coaching team now over Pop. He 3rd or 4th, however many coaches I name. Phil Jackson, Pat Riley, and
Pop and Doc.
Doc. Yeah, Doc probably 3rd.
You can argue he's number 1. Like, if you want to go tiers of players, then Phil's probably number 1. Pat Riley's probably number 2, and then Doc number 3, because he doesn't have like that tier of players. But we talk about the roster from top to bottom. But this man has 3 levels. Like the All-Star game will be his roster of players he's coached. Like that's how deep this man go. I'm talking about we can throw 5-on-5 with subs with the players this man has
All
coached.
All-Stars.
Easy.
All
All-Star. I'm talking about, hey, we want to have an All-Star game this year, Doc. We want to you have to call up all your former players. Oh, easy. Psh. Like you said, your points are going to be Chris Paul, Dame, and Rondo. Your guards are going to be 2 guards are going to be PG, Ray, who else you said?
You can go JJ Redick, you go Jamal Crawford.
JJ Redick or Jamal Crawford. 4 options right there. For your 3, you want to go Paul Pierce or Kawhi. We've got James Harden. James Harden could be the one of the 2.
Yep, James Harden.
Tyrese Maxey in that conversation.
Nah,
I ain't
now we talking. It's too hot for him for right now. He's still too young.
Yeah, not yet. Give him a couple years, he'll probably be in that conversation.
Right.
But you want to go 4. You got KG, arguably the best power forward all time, if not top 5 all time. Giannis, you put him right there. That's position is probably that, and the guard position is stacked. Like that's those 2 is stupid.
2 of the best.
And the 5 man. Oh, can't forget Blake Griffin. Throw him right there too. Then you got to go Joel Embiid at the 5,
and Dwight Howard,
and then Dwight Howard. Bruh. We just named easy Team A and Team B of All-Star teams. What are we doing here, Doc? So if you don't get the job done here, whatever coaching thought was going to be done for you, it's a wrap. You better at minimum get to the conference. That's the minimum we're asking, the conference finals. But that's me being nice. That's being nice. For real, we need to be in the finals competing. If we're not in the finals again, if we get swept, you're swept out of here. Like that's the level that's at for him.
You're swept. Oh my God.
We're done here. And I hate it for him. I hate it because we're Celtics guys. We grew up watching. That's the team that got us into, the Celtics fans. It's the coach, the team that Doc coached. So we're not knocking Doc just out the blue. We're not just random fans. We are fans of Doc Rivers, wanting him to succeed on multiple levels. So if you don't get the job done now, it's like, it might be done for you, man. So
thank you for your service. Tell you, boy.
It's tough, man. So
it's gonna be tough, man. But I'm gonna see. I'm gonna watch. I'm gonna try to stay up and watch a couple games, see how they look now that he over there. I know they gonna look good either way, just all pure time. They gonna have good games. All Doc really got to do is get some continuity between them and make sure he put in some kind of philosophy on defense of what they're gonna do and make sure they execute. And they're gonna be straight. But we gotta touch them finals, Doc. We have to, because really in the East, the Celtics and the Sixers and the Bucks are the big dogs. The Sixers ain't never been out the East. And like obviously the Celtics is the Celtics. They've been to the finals recently. They got playoff experience now with Tatum and them on that. The core of their team got playoff experience. So obviously they're a juggernaut. But so was y'all team. Y'all done been to the Bucks, been to the finals. Everybody on that team, all the core pieces on that team was on that championship team minus Dame. And now here you are. So you got the only other 2 teams that should be even, if y'all lost to the Celtics and then they went to the finals, people could say, okay, they give you a little slack, but they ain't gonna give you a lot because it's you, because you have a reputation now. So now they ain't giving you a whole lot of slack. But I would feel better if we lost to one of them. But I swear to you, Doc, we get in these playoffs. I swear to you, Doc, if we get in these playoffs and we lose to the Pacers or the Knicks or even Miami, like, because them some of the teams.
Man, I hate it for him, bro.
Man,
yeah.
Thank you for your service, Doc. Your bag's on the way out.
I hate it for him, dog. Because this man mess around and don't lose to one of those 2 teams, and he don't, at least if you don't lose to one of those 2 teams in the conference finals,
it's a bust.
That's probably it for him. Yeah, because I'll be honest with you, even with, if we're looking at rosters, Celtics have the best roster. It's hands down, like we just have the best roster.
Top to bottom.
the way Embiid's playing,
They got the best player.
and the way Dame is not. Yeah, he's the best player out of everybody right now. And the way that Dame is not playing his usual Dame, like he's still figuring out his way and trying to figure out the balance of Giannis, Bucks, and Dame ball. So that's still a struggle. And now it's be another step back because you have a new coach in there. So it's working against him, man. Like if he did this was an all-season move, different perspective we'll have on him. But it's middle of the season, so it's tough. But you know what he signed up for. He knows exactly what he was getting into. So ain't too much we can say, man. But Doc, Glenn, you might have to think about some stuff, man. Glenn Rivers, you got to change stuff up, dog. Cause
Calling him Glenn the diabolical.
hey, man, the boy losing 3-1 most times is diabolical, and if he loses this year, it's diabolical. So don't.
You're not lying, boy. You're not lying.
This man got 2 All-Star teams he coached, bro. Like, come on now. Low-key 3. Low-key 3. If you want to rearrange the guards and stuff, he low-key has 3. He has 15 players that is like all NBA caliber team. Like, come on, dog.
We might have to have a whole other episode on this, man. Like all-time coaching team.
His roster is hands down from top to bottom the best. Now, if you want to go just tiers of players, Phil won that. But top to bottom, it's Doc.
Doc, we wish you best of luck, brother. We want to see y'all succeed. I know he a Celtics guy, but he'll be happy to see you win if it ain't them. So we wish you.
I'm a Dame guy too, so that's my double whammy of like, I take that.
So like we rooting for you, Doc. We want you to win. Please don't let us down. You know what I'm saying? Just don't let us down in horrible fashion. If you lose the finals, okay. But 3-1 comebacks, I'm gonna be like, I ain't gonna lie. They get up 3-1 on anybody in the playoffs, I'm gonna be scared because they're gonna start making them graphics. You know how it be. As soon as they get up 3-1, they gonna be like, Doc Rivers has lost them on 3-1.
Nah, they mess around and get 2-1. You gonna start seeing it. Well, if they win the next game, they're gonna be 3-1, and then